Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of your Brains Coach podcast. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm your host, I'm your Brains Coach, and it is my job here to bring to you all the best, most important, essential, cutting edge, most useful and effective brain body tools so you could feel your best, think, and make the best possible decisions, and then take action to shape your life experience, to shape your life path as you want it, to getting to your goals, to your aspirations, into the version of self that you know you can be. Today, folks, we are having a book study, Attention Span, Finding a Focus for a Fulfilling Life by Gloria Mark. Again, Attention Span, Finding Focus for a Fulfilling Life by Gloria Mark. One of the best works on our attention, our diminishing attention, and also how to learn practical, science-backed, research-based tools on how to get back our attention, and by doing so, learning how to focus on the right things so we could feel in the way that moves us towards our goals, and then so we could build the life that we want. It's all about attention, right? Where we put our attention and focus, and because that attention and that focus actually defines then our emotions, our feelings, and the actions that we take, and ultimately the life path that we create for ourselves, and the impact, the change we produce in the world. Our attention is such an underestimated quality of our life. Like, you can feel 180 degrees different based on where you put your attention, based on where you put your focus. You can feel either super happy about the same exact situation. So, for example, there is this, actually wanted to share with you a fable. Not exact wording, but there was a farmer, and he had this great son, talented, helping him with everything, and strong and healthy, and everyone in the village was telling him, well, you're so lucky to have the son that is that's strong and capable, etc. And the farmer would say, we'll see. And then there was an accident, like his son was really good with horses, and that's why also villagers were congratulating the farmer on that. And so his son broke his leg. It was an accident, and the whole village was saying, oh, such a pity, like, you're so unlucky. And the farmer would say, we'll see. And then the war came. And they took most of the male population there, especially young and capable. But because his son had broken a leg and couldn't go, so he stayed. And villagers would say, we'll see. And the moral of the story is each situation can be really good or really bad, depending on their circumstances, and also depending on our focus. We can look at a failure as a sign or just bad luck that slows down our life, our progress, our success, or we can look at our life, or we can look at failures as learning opportunities that will actually accelerate our progress and accelerate our path to success if we decide to lean in, learn from it, correct, and make progress, make faster progress because of that. So as you can see, where you put your attention, where you put your focus, and how you frame things, most importantly. And we're going to actually talk about that more on the book study next week, all about how to fail well. Today, I just wanted to start with this story and a little bit of telling you what's about to come, because I wanted to emphasize how important your attention and focus is, and how much power it can give back into your hands to color your life experience every day. So Attention Span by Gloria Mark. Highly recommend picking up this book because not only you'll understand how your attention works, the biology of it, the anatomy, as Gloria Mark says in the book, you'll also understand what forces control and affect your attention span. And also, the book gives you practical tools that I'm going to share with you today to learn how to be more in control of your attention, ultimately in control of your focus, and then your emotions, your actions, and how your life gonna go. So the first thing that I wanted to share with you, I made a lot of notes here that also I learned and started to think more about, is that our attention, where we put our focus, is not an isolated thing. It's not an action of free will where you pay attention and where you focus. We live in what Gloria Mark calls life space, or our environment, and we are shaped, whether we want it or not, by people around us, by media, by technology, by geography of our place, by culture, by our work, by communication at work and through technology, and at home with our family, with our friends, by weather. All of these forces, Gloria Mark calls this life space, they affect us. And so our attention has been diminishing based on research from, I believe, like many decades ago, actually. It's been getting less and less and less. And Gloria Mark says because of that, media has been changed to adapt to our attention span, but then also media shaped our attention span as well. And obviously, there are more interactions or more interruptions than ever in our environment. And some people are more adept to dealing with those, and some people are less. And because of that, we have some of us have more issues with attention and focus, and some of us have less issues with attention and focus. And even though there is a big aspect of free will, of us shaping our environment, of us making choices, but also we need to not forget that we exist in the world. And there is this also field theory that says a human being is the result of what we become. It's a human being in the environment. It's a function of human being in the environment. What it basically means, how we show up in the world and what we become in the world, it all also depends on our environment, to a bigger extent, to a lesser extent. Obviously, we have a lot of choices, but there is also limit to what we can achieve given our environment. So that's the first point that I wanted to emphasize. And when you make certain choices or end up creating certain patterns, certain behaviors, always think about that. Or when you observe that in other people, before judging people or yourself, do remember that all of us exist in the world, in this life space, and we are not isolated from our environment. So when you analyze your actions, when you build this self-awareness of why you pay attention to certain things but not others, also look in your environment, which you can also design and shape. And in the book, Gloria Mark talks about becoming more self-aware and then self-regulating and then correcting our behaviors. But one of the aspects of correcting our own behavior, and one of the actually easiest at the end, is shaping our environment. We often look at people, like a lot of people look at me and think that my healthy habits, my lifestyle, my daily exercise, the way I eat, they are a result of some discipline and willpower. But the thing is, for me, willpower and discipline in those areas became a thing of the past quite some time ago. It's not, first of all, those are already habits, but even before that, whenever I wanted to change behavior, I would organize the environment around me first, physical environment, the food I put in my fridge, the snacks I put in my bag, like biltong or dried meat, for example, the people I surround myself with. So we check in with each other, going to workouts and check in on each other's progress. And I make sure that exercise is easy and that I committed to it, and I have my schedule and I have my gym membership and the whole routine. So my whole environment actually makes me do what I need to do. And so Gloria Mark also emphasizes it here. When it comes to our attention span, when it comes to our focus, and when I work with people, helping them to regain control of their attention, helping them to improve focus, helping them to learn how to get into a flow state, first, we talk about environment and things like, where is your phone? If you're struggling with a habit of checking your phone much more often than you'd like to, then look at your phone. Where is it most of the time? If it's right by your side, by your computer, even if it's in your view, if you can see that, that already gonna trigger a thought in your brain about checking this phone. You see, your brain is driven by triggers in your environment. So if you always see a dumbbell in your room, you're going to pick it up and do something with it. So the same with your phone. If you see your phone all the time somewhere by your side, if your brain is aware of that, then you're going to pick it up more often. I always try to hide my phone. Sometimes even if I get where I hid it, that's kind of creates a problem of its own. So I need to figure out a place, but usually it's somewhere under the pillow, somewhere in the drawer, in one of the closets or cupboards. And yes, so your environment, how you shape it, will trigger the behavior. So if you'd like to, for example, check your phone less often, then put it away. If you'd like to check your email on your computer less often, then don't have anything that prompts you to open up your either email application or your email tab. Make it as invisible as you possibly can. Even James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, of BJ Fogg in Tiny Habits, all the PhDs, all the experts on habit formation also say the same thing. Like, if you want to build a habit, make it obvious, make it visible, make it in your face. And if you want to break a habit, make it inaccessible, invisible, difficult to reach. So the same as your attention span. Again, back to my work with the clients, I help them to create a sort of monastery or almost like a cave. I always talk about this image of creating a cave where you have yourself, your work, a tool that you work with, like your computer, and nothing and no one is allowed. Also things like shaping your communication, designing your communication with the outside world. A lot of entrepreneurs, business owners who work from home, who I work with, they're like, but then there is my wife or kids that will interrupt me. And I always tell them, you have the power to change that. You can communicate with your family members better when it's good idea to interrupt you, to offer you some coffee or some lunch, or to, with kids, like play with you. And when it's not such a great idea, you can communicate that openly and freely. You can create a special sign system, like putting a sign, do not disturb, on your door and explaining that this is when you do your deep work, the work that really makes a difference, and you'd like to be not disturbed unless it's an emergency. And people will learn and people will adapt, especially people who love you and root for you, right? So it's all in your power to shape your environment. And environment is one of the biggest, most defining feature and tool in your toolbox, shaping your environment, that will help you to become the person that you want to become, more in control of your attention span, of your focus. It's going to be easier than trying to always control yourself or remember what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So environment, it's it's like golden mine. And once you learn how to create the environment that supports your best intentions, a lot of things will be so much easier. So that is the second point that I wanted to emphasize here, right? Talking about life space, Gloria Mark, the author of the book Attention Span, talks about how interruptions comes from outside and from within ourselves. From when interruptions come from outside of ourselves, then the best tool we have is shaping our environment, communicating with people how we'd like to work, like when we're talking about organizations or your company, your team. When it comes to interruptions from within, one of the interesting tools that keeps coming up in different books is externalizing your thought process, your memories, your to-dos, things that you're trying to keep in your head. What I teach my clients to do, when you work and you have thoughts popping into your head, ideas, and you don't want to lose them, don't go and research those things. Simply write them down and have the time in your day when your attention is not at its peak and you're done with good chunk of your important, essential, cognitively demanding work. Well, choose a time when you're just gonna go through all of these ideas, and some of them not even gonna make you wanna check them twice. You're like, that seems like a great idea, but now it doesn't seem so, right? So write them down. I call this having your thought note by your side, a piece of paper where you write down all your internal urges and memories and thoughts and ideas. And at some point during the day, just have like 30 minutes or maybe 20 minutes to go through the list of these ideas and see if any of them should be captured somewhere for future reference, to refer back to them, or for maybe putting some of them on the calendar or acting on them right away. But not only that, what was interesting, writing down everything that you need to do today, tomorrow, everything that keeps looping in your mind. We talked about open loops on this podcast quite a few times already. And again, that's because it's been popping up in all of these books and research and articles. So writing down all that you have to do, must do, have to remember, will help you to free up your working memory, the one that helps you to make better decisions, to think better, to have more cognitive resources available for your work, and also not feel the tension or overwhelm that you have too much stuff in your head, right? So writing down everything that is in your head, it's the funny thing and the interesting thing, it's not only going to help you to stay more focused on the task at hand, not having interruptions that come from within, it also helps you to fall asleep better. So Gloria Mark, in her book Attention Span, talked about this research when they made people write down all these memories, things to do tomorrow, the day after, in the next month. They made people write down these things before bed, and other people, they made them do a writing exercise about things they accomplished already during the day or the days before. And what was interesting is people who wrote about things they need to do, they need to keep in mind, those open loops, they fell asleep statistically faster, consistently. And not only that, the more detailed they were with those descriptions, the faster they fell asleep. And they say that it's probably because your brain is still working of things. If your memories, if your to-dos and things to memorize, or different processes, not decisions not made, your brain keeps working on them until you externalize them, giving your subconscious, your brain, a sign that this is either going to be dealt with or it is in some way captured and taken care of. And when we externalize, the funny thing, those to-dos and unmade decisions on a piece of paper anywhere, we kind of free up our mind and let it peacefully rest. So if you are the person who is in their bed thinking about all of that stuff and projects, try doing this writing exercise for 5 minutes. Write about everything that is on your mind, that is future-oriented decisions to make or things to take care of. So that was interesting tool that also during the day helps you to have more of your cognitive resources. That, by the way, helps you to have more control of your attention, resist urges, and get much better at controlling behaviors like scrolling through social media. Speaking about cognitive resources and having better control over our urges to check email, to check social media, to check YouTube, to, Google something. Our ability to resist all these different urges depends not just on our environment, but also on things like time of the day. When you have more cognitive resources, like at the beginning of the day compared to when you are exhausted at the end of the day, you will have much better control over controlling those urges. And so at the end of the day, it's better to have some systems in place that will prevent you from undesired behavior of scrolling social media, because you will have much less capacity to actually resist that urge to check social media and stay there. Then also our ability to resist those urges to be interrupted from within or from our environment depends on what kind of emotional rewards we get from that interaction. If that's, some friends or on our Facebook and we are more rewarded with the interaction, then we're going to come back to that more often. Or if some videos just give us this, fun, like TikTok videos or some entertaining Instagram videos, or is just some material that we really engaged with, then again, we're going to have a less capacity to the more rewards we have, the stronger the urge to interact with that's going to be. And then workload that's going to also drain our cognitive resources, design of our technology, like where you have those apps, whether they're easily available or not that easy, and you have to flip through different screens on your phone, for example. Also your personality type and even your lifestyle. Like just today I was reading a short post from a doctor who was writing about nutrition and how iron or deficiency in iron contributes to poor cognitive function. And poor cognitive function, guess what, guys? You're going to have more difficulties resisting urges to keep your attention and your focus where you want to keep them. So nutrition and or things like lifestyle, sleep. If your sleep is of poor quality, you don't get enough sleep. Instead of 8 hours that you actually need, you get only 6 hours. Guess what? You're also going to diminish your cognitive resources, and it's going to be harder for you to control your urges and your attention. Another very important and interesting aspect of our attention span and focus to understand that we have our rhythm due to circadian rhythm, wake, sleep cycle, and we humans are circadian creatures. We are designed to be active and focused and alert during the day. And at different parts of the day, our focus, our cognitive resources, cognitive capacity is going to be different. Like if you are an early morning person, between 9 to 11 is probably going to be your peak time where you can deliver the best quality work, and it's also going to be easier for you to resist all of these urges of scrolling through social media or checking email or doing anything not cognitively demanding or challenging or important work. If you are a late night person, then your cognitive peak going to be later, probably somewhere in the early afternoon. Sometimes it's, focused peak is even in the later afternoon. And why the book brings it up is because when you have your focus resources at their peak, That's the time for you to do cognitively demanding, difficult work, not scroll through social media. And so if you scroll through social media at your cognitive peaks, when you're off your peak, it's going to be very hard for you to perform at your best and deliver challenging task. Compare that again to the time when you are at your cognitive peak. So the book teaches you to learn about your rhythms, and when designing your schedule, your work, and your breaks to check social media sometimes, that might be needed and might help you to relax a little bit. So make sure that you schedule the most important work for the times when you are at your peak. That will depend on your circadian rhythm, your chronotype. What also was very interesting that I learned before and I practice personally and I teach all of my clients, what's interesting is that if you want to have very strong focus and help your brain to pay attention to what you want instead of social media, distractions, interruptions, what works really well is having a very clear goal that you refer to several times per day. So if my focus is building business at the moment, and my focus is to bring leads, to bring more clients. So reminding myself of that more often, and also my focus is on delivering great quality work to existing clients, because your existing clients are your best marketers and salespeople. So knowing that, having that in mind, writing my goals every single day, every single week, looking at my goals several times per day helps to refocus my brain and to give my brain a target, a filter through which my brain will filter out my reality and my brain will help me to focus on the right things and avoid the wrong things. Without the goal, your brain is kind of this wandering traveler without a destination, a map, like any road will lead there. So might as well check out all the sites and articles and social media. So what books also talks about is how having a very strong sense of goal, of clear vision, direction will help your brain to have a stronger feeling of what to focus on and what to filter out. It will help you to filter out all of these distractions within and from outside of your environment. And the last, and this is actually one of the most important toolkits to start mastering your attention span. Doesn't matter whether you are in a perfect environment or whether you have a perfect night of sleep or you have a perfect lifestyle. So the toolkit that I'm about to describe, that is actually the most important toolkit you have to start mastering your attention and ultimately focus and your emotions and your work ethic, and which will help you to get more things done, more things aligned with your goals, with your career goals, with your business goals, with your personal growth goals, and will help you to create life experience that you want. Become aware, reflect, and correct. So a 3-step process that Gloria Mark describes in her book. Number 1 is becoming more aware of what you do and why you do it. So in the book, Gloria Mark calls it meta-awareness, or being aware of being aware. And it all has to do with when you do things. And by the way, meditation helps to bring in more mindfulness to your day-to-day activities and your urges and your thoughts and your emotions, helps you to pause. So meditation and breath work, any kind of mindfulness practices will help you to develop awareness in the first place. And by the way, successful entrepreneurs I talk to, when I ask them about problems with their teams and productivity and different aspects of performance, they all talk about one thing. Being self-aware is the first step to becoming the most effective, high-performing, productive human being. And unfortunately, not everyone works on developing that, not understanding how crucial it is to our success. Well, anyhow, Gloria Mark, in her book Attention Span, Creating Focus for a Fulfilling Life, meta-awareness, becoming aware, that is the first step of becoming an owner of your attention. And what it means in practice is, when you are about to pick up your phone, or you're about to check your email, or you're about to watch another YouTube, another TikTok, read another article that is not really related to what you need to get done. Or even if it's related, it's not getting the work done. It's something like for your thought note to check later, now getting the work done. So becoming first aware and asking yourself questions. Why do I want to check my social media? What is the emotion? Why the urges out there? What am I trying to avoid? Why do I have that? And maybe the environment is the cause. Maybe you are trying to avoid difficult work or challenges. So why is that? Developing that awareness, why you do certain things, when you do them, for how long, what causes them, what triggers them. And then also the next one that's in the book is called forethought. Is thinking into the future. Well, if I keep checking my phone, if I keep scrolling these videos, how much time from my past memories am I going to lose? And what will it mean for the end of my day? Will I accomplish my goals, or will I struggle with my goals because I decided at the beginning of my day to dedicate an hour of my cognitive capacities, very often my cognitive peak, to some scrolling through social media, or checking email that can be checked later, or figuring out some relationships that are maybe draining you and setting you up for unproductive, unfocused day where your mind is going to be there, thinking about that drama. So developing that meta awareness, and also this forethought is very important. Thinking into the future. If you're going to continue this pattern, if you're going to check your social media now, what will it mean for the rest of your day? What results are you going to get? Are you going to feel good about your day, or are you going to feel frustrated because you couldn't organize yourself, your environment, and self-correct in the right way so you actually set yourself up for success? Asking more questions, becoming more aware of your behavior. And one very important aspect of it is understanding your reasons. Like, why do you do what you do? And how can you interrupt this behavior at the core, changing your reasons, figuring your reasons out, and understanding the cause so you can address the problem at the very root. So meta-awareness, thinking about the future, that is in the book called Forethought. Those are the first steps of becoming master of your attention, of your focus, and ultimately, folks, your life. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and that's the actions that you take, and that's how your life gonna become. And then two other aspects of the same process is, okay, now you're aware, now you're thinking about your future, now you understand the reason why. Now is the time to self-regulate, self-correct, self-reflect. Now it's time to put your knowledge, your awareness into action. For example, how can I design my environment so it supports my attention, my focus on the right things instead of derailing me and my productivity? How can I design my technology? How can I design my day better so I deliver greater results and at the same time have some time for fun, like social media in an not uninterrupted, but in a way that doesn't interfere with my goals, with my more important objectives. And then figuring out your best rhythm, your balance. At some point, I had to ask myself, folks, Well, my evening Netflix watching habit, what does it actually do to the quality of my life, to the results in my life? And those half an hour were actually derailing my productivity the next day because I didn't get those 30 minutes for my sleep. And even 30 minutes for your sleep, it does matter. And once I realized that it was counterproductive to who I wanted to become, what I wanted to achieve, and not only that, at the end of the day, it didn't really add any quality into my life. Like, would I remember that I haven't watched that Netflix series in a week from now, in a month from now, in years from now? Guess what? No. And I'd better off doing some breath work to help me relax and help me chill and help me sleep better. And then the next day, focused, fresh, with new energy, getting after my goals, that would actually change the quality of my life. And once I realized that, I'm like, well, what can I do to help myself to remove that habit from my life that is not serving me, but hard to resist at night, especially when we are exhausted, fatigued, tired, when our cognitive capacities are at their lowest and we have the most difficult time resisting anything. So how can I help myself? And then what I did, I unsubscribed from Netflix. I removed the app, and now in order for me to get to Netflix, I would have to at night install the app, then create an account, get my payment details and all of that stuff at night. I'm like, yeah, forget about that. I'm too lazy even for that. And that's how I ditched my Netflix habit, and guess what? Started sleeping better, started learning more and getting more done. And somehow also doing breath work before going to bed made me feel better emotionally and mentally as well. So this is the most important toolkit, becoming aware, asking yourself questions, figuring out reasons why you do what you do, figuring out your goals, like what do you actually want to achieve, and is it playing into your habit, becoming who you say you want to become, creating the life that you say you want, thinking into the future, how it's going to affect my day, how it's going to affect my goals today, in the week from now, in a month from now, and then shaping your environment, and then creating the conditions inside and outside to support this new behavior, to support your better attention control, to support your better focus. That's what will help you to get on the path of mastering your attention and ultimately mastering your energy, mastering your getting things done muscle, and shaping your life, shaping your life's path in a much more intentional way that is desired. And hey guys, we all have our goals, we all have our aspirations, we all have the vision of the future that we want to build, the vision of the self that we want to create. But guess what? Unless you take control of your attention, your focus, and your actions, what you have in your life is never going to happen. And the only thing that you're going to have left is frustrations because of the life that you never lived, but could have, only if you mastered your attention. And by the way, pick up the book also to learn about 4 different types of attention. Like there is focus, when you are engaged and challenged. There is rote attention, which is when you're engaged, like playing some games on your phone, but not really challenged. That actually might be beneficial to restore some of your cognitive capacity in between really focused bouts of work. Then we have frustration, when you are challenged but not really engaged. That's when you get some boring stuff that you don't want to do and it's challenging. And then we have boredom, when you're not engaged and not really challenged. And these different kinds of attention matter, and we need to learn how to navigate them. The foundational toolkit as other additional toolkits like externalizing your memories, having a thought note by your side, creating goals to help your brain filter out the distractions much better. All of these tools, folks, I hope they are helpful to you and you're going to start using them, because only when you start using new tools, they can positively affect your life. So pick up the book, re-listen to this podcast to refresh your memories whenever you need it. And most importantly, start bringing awareness to where your attention goes and what it makes you do. Because sooner or later, if you don't become self-aware, if you don't build awareness of where your attention and your focus go, sooner or later, you start getting frustrating results in all areas of your life, because your attention, your focus drive actions, and that change your life in the way you want or in the way that you don't want. So take control of your attention, master your attention, master your self-awareness, forethought, intentionality, self-regulation, self-correction. If you need any help with that, there is a link to our one-on-one session where you can test drive our coaching, executive coaching, and we specifically can work on your focus, on your attention, on your flow state. So the link is in the show notes. And don't forget, guys, please do share this podcast with people who might struggle with things like their attention and their focus that might be interfering with their life, making them struggle more than necessary. So give them this podcast, short listen, easy listen, give them some ideas, help them to get on the right path of mastering their attention. Because at the end of the day, we all want to do our best to create the better world that we all want to live in. So please do share this podcast. The link to your complimentary executive coaching session to master your attention is in the show notes. And till next time, pay attention to the right things, that then take action and see how your life is going to be transformed.